Welcome to Worse Than You with Mo Fry Pasick. I'm Mo, and every week I'm asking today's most captivating artists how they got their acts together. This show is not about their best or most famous work. It's about the work that means the most to them, their creative process, and why they make their art. This week's guest is a comedian and writer, best known for her work on After Midnight, Z-Way, and Joe Pera Talks With You. Her most recent comedy special, Good Timing, is streaming on Peacock. And her debut murder mystery novel, Murder on Sex Island, is now out through Bantam. Bantam?
That's good.
Thank you. Please welcome to the pod, Jo Firestone. Ready, set, show! See? Wow, that was really subversive to just jump in, really powerful. And that's kind of so you. Wow, you're already sort of embodying your method. Yeah, jump in whole hog, if you will.
Yeah,
and that's kind of it, correct? Listeners, I am very happy because we have one of my dearest, oldest friends and just what I consider to be a comedic and creative genius. And what I'm excited to talk with you today, too, is I think when it comes to like creativity and that being the driving force in your art versus necessarily comedy or drama or whatever it is, like creativity drives it.
Wow, I'm honored.
Well, we love to start with a project so we can get to know your process.
Great.
And so we ask our interviewees a too long didn't read. So just summarize a current project you're working on, which I'm excited for listeners to read, which is Murder on Sex Island. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, so this is a too long didn't read, but I hope you do read. It's a murder mystery novel. Thank you. And it takes place on this kind of Love Island type show called Sex Island, where they have sex with each other and the people that are best at sex win $100,000. So it's kind of like Love Island. And
in fact, did you get sued for like a rip?
I haven't gotten sued yet, but I am watching Love Island. I'm all up to date. And like,
you are?
Yes.
Well, let's talk. Yeah.
It feels like eerily similar in many ways. But like I wrote this like 4 years ago. And so I'm like, I guess it's just, this is how these shows go, you know?
Or it's Page Master and you're prophetic and it's like.
Or it's that those are the two options. I don't know which. I would want to rule it out. And so it's a murder mystery novel where one of the contestants goes missing. And so then they call in this private detective who one of the producers worked with when their cousin lost their dog. And this woman comes on and she's a huge fan of the show. And she's also like kind of like newly private detective. And she's like not very confident or good at her job. And she is kind of starstruck, but then they tell her she has to go undercover as a contestant.
Listeners, I mean, if you're following along with Love Island USA right now, you understand that this is Greek tragedy and comedy, and Jo has provided you with the next great sort of myth, and I'm very excited for everybody to read.
The next great myth.
Yeah, Cassandra.
We've been waiting for a new myth until now.
Hey, I've been so bored and nobody's making myths, and finally you made a sex myth. You had Medusa, you had the sirens, and now
I did when I started to write this. I hoped that there would be a lot more sex in it.
That's always the case, though. I mean, think about actually Love Island and any story. When the sex is actually happening, it's not compelling, and it's not fun, and it's uncomfortable.
You think so?
Oh my goodness, yes. I could have told you there was going to be less sex in it. Because sex is the desire of everything, right? Once you get it, it's like, oh, okay. And then, at least right now on Love Island this season, it's also kind of weaponized in a very uncomfortable way. So I'm not wanting them to have sex.
Yeah. So, it feels like, well, the one thing, like, they seem happy after they have sex, but then the one thing is I don't feel right watching the covers move when they zoom in on the covers and the covers are moving.
You actually wrong. Can't say they seem happy right after sex. No, it does. It's very voyeuristic, and it's like a little Boil the Frog, where we don't realize like we are just kind of watching like covered porn in a
Yeah,
way.
which is
Yeah, no
porn's
problem.
great, but it does feel like, to spend this much time watching it, like, the time commitment is, like,
Is heavy.
because 'cause you've already spent, like, we're on episode 30,
31. Yeah.
31 is tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, that's, like, at least 45 hours of your life,
But could you write it all off as research?
of course, for the book I already published. Yes, absolutely. It's post research.
I think you could be a Robert B. Parker. I think you could be a Janet Ivanovich of the reality show Sex Murders.
Of course. Sure, thank you. But yeah, that was so then this book just came out and now, I keep, like, going it's a trade paperback. You know how most books come out in hardcover and then they come
Yes,
out in paperback after they've sold us enough. Well, this is straight to paperback,
that's
and
fun.
so it's fun, and so but then I keep going like, I keep going to bookstores. I've gone to 3 bookstores so
Okay.
far and been like, "I'm just gonna wander in, and if I see my book or see someone else reading it, and I wander in, they don't have the book.
They don't have
They
the
don't
book?
even they don't have
Why?
it because it's a
No.
trade paperback." But, I keep doing this thing where I'm like, "I'm just gonna be humble,"
Oh,
and then I
my
go in and then I'm
heart.
like, "Damn, I've been humbled." But it's I think it's the kind of thing where if people seek this out, if people are like, "I want Love Island, but somebody to be killed,"
Yeah,
they will find it.
which they do. Everybody wants it. They just don't. Here's my thing. Okay, this is a call to action from all listeners. What I'm going to need you to do is going to seek out this book, right? I need you to order it to find it. And then I need you to do some guerrilla sort of like improvising everywhere, whatever that thing is. And I want you and I want you to leave this book in a bunch of bookstores. I want you to buy it, buy one for yourself, and then leave it in a bunch of bookstores. And they'll be like, wait, is this book ours? Is somebody buying it? And it's going to be this fun, weird prank that you guys get to be a part of, and you're actually letting the world know. So please drop a comment once you have stocked a book in a bookstore. Oh, it's very endearing. You know what, I'm excited for listeners to hear about your process because I think yours is almost like unintentionally prolific. Like your face is moved by that.
Well, I think can I tell you I was talking to your, engineer and producer before this,
Incredible, folks.
and they're incredible, but I was, like, basically saying how I think that basically a lot of this stuff is, like, they kind of you're supposed to think it's, like, it's gonna culminate in some kind of climactic feeling
Mm,
where it's like, "Oh, I did it." Like, "Oh, my book's on sale," or, "Oh, my play's running," or like,
yeah,
"Oh, my music's out."
yeah.
And maybe it's because there's so much right now, or maybe because the way people take in stuff is different, but it's never like the climax you hope it's gonna be. So, like, it's kind of easier for you emotionally if you make the climax a different part of the process.
Okay, question. I adore this. Is that intentionally chosen? Like, do you choose the other part to find value in?
No, I don't think you can it's, like, kind of like how you're like, "I should like vegetables," but it's
Yeah.
like, that have you heard that metaphor about, like, making the chair?
No.
Oh, well, it's like, the creative process is like making a chair. It's like first you sand down the wood, then you, like, build it, then you paint it, then you like, polish it or whatever, and it's like which part of the chair process is your favorite part?
Okay.
And unless you're, like, I guess really popular online. I actually don't even think it's climactic for those people either. I think it's like
No.
I think it just you figure out what you like, not necessarily what you're supposed to like, but what really gets you energized in the
Mm.
process. And that's the part that should feel the most climactic.
And what is that part for you?
For me, it's starting. So that's why I keep starting stuff. So I love starting stuff.
Really?
And then my second favorite part is finishing it.
Wow. You know what I'm loving about that is it's like so annoyingly simple because it's like I like those two things. So the middle isn't as precious. Like it's like I want to get to those things.
Right. You want to finish it as quickly as possible because then you get to finish. And then the rest of it is kind of like, Okay. Check it out.
Is the finish for you when you finish creatively or when it's published, when you're streaming, when it's like, where is that finish that you're craving?
When you're finished creatively.
Got it. Okay.
That feels really good for me personally. I think it's like because it's before anyone's seen it, before anyone has comments.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And you're just like, this is as good as it can get.
I agree because I also think like I think the blessing that I've gotten in life for whatever reason is that it's not that I don't enjoy praise. I love praise and would love for everything I do to be successful, party rock. But the feeling, the energy, the galvanizing energy, it does nothing. It's like, it's all in the like creation, improv, like whatever it is, like during the period of time that I'm like giddy over and feels good. And so I genuinely don't even know how to give that a technique to someone because it's just like I'm psyched. I even feel big about that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of like because you did this podcast to coordinate with with the
Yeah,
live show,
with
but
the
now
play,
this second season is not. It's
nothing.
so like it's not connected to the live show. Like, does it feel different? Does it feel like its own thing?
The only reason it doesn't is because the play covered so many of my personal, like themes in being understood and understanding. And I think the core is still the same, where I get to ask people like, what does that mean to you? Like, and that excites me to enlighten this perception of like my literal process of what I should be told in being an artist and my emotional process and what actually feels good. And so it feels like the core of the play is still there, even though the play was, dramatized and its own story. This feels similar in like the play. It's very most basic, I would say. I liked presenting the idea that even if you feel misunderstood or pushing people away, that's so readily in like therapy and speak, you're told like you're wrong, like you are understood, and I liked to affirm like, yes, you are misunderstood. Like it is confusing and like, you know what I mean? And I hope the podcast does that of like, yeah, it did feel crazy. That's what they meant by that. Isn't that nuts? Like so it's like six of one, half dozen of the other. But in the process of that, it still to me feels like dialogue, even if the scene partner is a podcast interviewee versus a script. Like to me, it's still in dialogue with understanding abstraction and the artist.
Yeah. Yeah. I see what you mean.
But you similarly, like, how do you feel? Because, like, I think themes wise, it's interesting, like, start and finish are your favorite. Because what I've seen, like, you're so community based. You're so wonderful at creating like a playground for folks, even if it's a show, even if it's a concept. And so I would have assumed that's like the first thing you said because the way people feel in your rooms that in the containers you make, the premises you present is so seen and giddy and accepted.
I guess I never feel like it's gonna be that. Like I like hope that it's that way, but I never like know like
Mm.
until the moment or like. So I always like hope that it can feel like that because that feels like that's like, usually like when I'm having the most fun is when I'm in those kind of projects or in those audiences or kind of like that's the funniest thing to me.
Hmm.
Yeah, that but I don't know if I never know if it's gonna work.
That's a beautiful risk.
And I sometimes wish like I know that, at this point I think I've been doing it for so long I don't think I can really pivot, but I think it's like the
I
what
can
I
pivot.
really what I love in other performers is this kind of like star power and like kind of like gravitational like sucking in of like kind of like you don't see anything else in the room.
Yeah.
And not I'm not trying to put myself down at all, but I don't feel like I have that, but I do have something where it's like, "Oh, look around the room." You know what I mean? Like so like that's but I wish that I had the like when I was a little kid I really wanted to be Bette Midler and like
Oh,
but I
you see
can't sing.
beaches.
I know like I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't, like that just not really my I appreciate it. It's like UCB improv where I'm like, "God, I
Mm.
love what you've done." But it's not for me. To
Babe,
me.
I went to your 401 graduation show. I thought you were great.
it's for me, it is, like, the hardest it's harder than, like, taking an SAT test. Like, I was just
Yeah.
like, "What? Do we have to remember what we did 10 minutes ago? Oh god," it's so hard. But, like, I love when other people do it, and I love watching people improvise. It's so fun, but that's yeah, not like, just not something that's in my wheelhouse.
I agree with what you're saying that like I don't and not that you're incapable. I think you have star power, but I think you use it for look, I'm just like you, and then everyone feels really safe in this space. And you know, there isn't necessarily a divide between audience and stage in your shows, which is what is so magnetic about it, that someone could go and maybe be seen. And whereas the sort of only person in the room star quality is the opposite side of that coin of like someone can go and be peacefully unseen and only seen through this other vehicle of the star. And like, is that something you had to accept that you're like, I'm not going to be the thing I want. I'm not going to be Bet? Or is it just you're like, I still want to be on stage. Whatever. I'll keep going.
Well, I kept trying to do it. I kept trying to build these experiences and these shows where I could do it, and I kept bailing. Like, I got, like
You'd bail?
like, I would bail midway through the premise. Like, I, like, tried a bunch of different ones. Like, I remember I tried to create this character called Bambina, and, like,
Obsessed
I had, like,
already.
this Christmas show where she was, like, the star of it, and then it was, like, oh god, I flew in this, like, drag performer, who does Liza Minnelli, and, like, it was a whole big I got, like, this potato chip sponsor. We got 14 cases of expired potato chips to give out. It was just, like, a huge production. We tried to do it in Brooklyn and Manhattan in 1 week, and it was just, like, there was 50 people in the cast,
No, yeah, of course. Why not?
and it was,
Wait,
like
I'm so confused though. You're saying I tried to be the vet and there's 50 people in the cast.
well, right, so, like, I kept being like, "Nah, it needs more, it needs more, it needs more," and it's, like, it wasn't and, like, the Bambina part was, like, the worst part of it, and it was just
That's
like,
so funny.
that's not where it's
That's
going.
so funny. If somebody wrote you a star vehicle, would you accept?
I think I would bust it.
Well, if it was for you, I don't think you could.
No, I'd bust it. I'd still
Well,
bust it.
I'm writing for someone who busts it, so
But I really think it's like, I would say I would say that you are someone that I notice that, like, you do have the, like, kind of star power.
Okay, that's very very kind.
But,
Thank
like,
you.
when you, like it's like you, like, put on, like, a fun outfit for the stage, and you have, like, this kinda energy that you're, like, bringing in there, and then, like, people like, where did you do that show with Bowen and Sudi? Where was that? Was that at
Oh, Trine, yeah, at the Freehand Hotel.
the Freehand Hotel? Like, that
Mhm.
space is crazy for a show.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
wild.
expansive.
It's
Like,
huge. It's a
it's
gymnasium.
yes! You did a dance, I think, and it was,
Yeah.
like people were just, like, locked in, and it was, like, these were, like, cool people that, like, weren't really like, had never gone to a comedy show before, and they were locked in, and I
I
was
was
like,
scared of those people.
"But you did great," and it was, like, that was really, challenging. That was, like, a if you could do it in that audience, like, it means that you can do it, you know?
That's very kind. I I do think these are like a curly hair, straight hair energy where it's like you know what I mean? It's like you want what you can't have because I don't know. I think the reason you are also so singular is that it's like I'm doing that incredible, like I'm the only person in the room because I need to. Because if I look at one person, it's so intimate, I will crumble. Like it's like seeing everyone there who chose to get dressed, who chose to come on the subway, who got there, it overwhelms me intensely. And getting in that room and looking at them and being like, "Hi, what's your name?" Oh, and like you do that, you'll repeat it. You're like, "Oh, Michael, hello, come on up." That is very intimate to me in a way I cannot handle. So it's very protective to be the only person in the room.
Well, maybe so, but I do think it takes a certain
Oh yeah, I have star quality. I'm not denying
yeah.
that for sure. Yeah. Oh no 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 yeah, we're past that. This is semantics on the high echelon. Yeah. No, it's just interesting because I think when I'm talking about process, perception and permission are like my three P's: process, perception, and permission. Like, what do you give yourself permission for? What do you just exist with and give other people's permission for in your own process? And perception is a big thing. Like, do you perceive yourself a certain way that limits other actions, or do you perceive yourself in a way that is expansive, or are you dancing with the perception of self and subverting it? And I think a lot of that goes into the medium we choose for our art. Like, like if it's the kind of the classic story of like comedians being like, I didn't think I could act, so I did stand up for 20 years, was very successful, but I always wanted to act. Like, it's those side,
Mm.
and so I think it's interesting when usually our greatest skill is the thing where you're like, yeah, 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 but
Yeah, I see what you mean. Did you come up with those yourself, or was that from like a book on creativity?
the, okay, compliment me. No,
Okay.
it was. I just think those are the things I come back to, and they happen to be P's. So because I'm constantly getting permission when I hear so. Like, I watch reality TV because I
Uh-huh.
feel permission to be crazy, like to feel my feelings, to be
Uh-huh.
unhinged. I take different perspectives of myself, of like how actors view me versus comedians, to take myself more seriously or try and present. And I think those are really important to the process. Like, those feel like I choose differently, I act differently when those are distorted, positively or negatively.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
For listeners who also haven't had the, because you have so much that people can consume, right? You literally even have you have playing cards games, you have books, you have now like a special, which is so heavenly.
Oh,
Listeners,
thank you.
Joe teaches a class at a, what do they call it? Senior center?
I think it's called an older adult center now.
Older adult center, and teaches comedy, stand-up comedy, and like Joe's special is them, and like that is symbolic of what you're saying, because it's like you aren't the center of the special, it isn't you walking on stage or whatever, but you are facilitating every comedy, every joke. You are the reason it exists, and it's just really lovely. But all your work does consist of that, because you would do like fest, or like even like the mini pizza plays. You remember those years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, Joe would do little plays that are dumb in the back of a bar and just constantly be creating. And Punderdome was this very large, talk about a room. Oh my God. Talk about a space if you can kill. Littlefield is huge. And imagine standing room only, all of Littlefield, like once a month. And it is very connective. But guess what? Not everybody's holding those spaces. I feel this way. Do you not?
No, I know what you mean. I think that it's like also, you know, I think that a lot of people want to go to a show where they can just sit there and not be, talked to, and just kind of like blend it, like feel like it's more like they can just be an audience member. I think that that's something that people want as well. And like now it feels like I have not really gotten back into the New York scene, but it's like, I guess what I've heard is that it's a lot of crowd work now. And I think that people get nervous about that, you know?
Well, yeah, because it's not crowd work from an organic, connective place. It's from a, can I own this for a viral clip?
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
And I want your official page 6 comment on that, because so like when you're creating a new show, a new play, a new whatever, right? But aside from start and end, like what is driving that? What is driving that next medium, that next Substack, that next thing to push out? Is it just trying to see where the idea fits?
I think it kind of has to do with like what I'm really into at the moment. Like, I'm a very passionate person, and
You
I
are,
would say that like right now I'm on a real murder mystery kick. I love murder mysteries. I
as you should
love
be.
I love reading them as fast as possible. Like, I just want to start it, and then I want to know who did it, and I want to get into the mood of that particular
Sure.
book. And that and Love Island are my two main sources of uh, art right now. Art.
I you should see my algorithm. I'm not joking. I started making TikTok like it's only Love Island, and
Yep.
I genuinely mean this. Like I take it so seriously. It
Yep.
is art.
Of course.
How do you feel about Huda?
I like Huda.
How do you feel about the behavior and the accountability situations?
I understand that, but I also here's the thing. I think these people are subject to some insane
Yeah,
editing, and
that's
I'm
true.
like, the fact that they can actually have a good time and, like, smile and laugh with each other and, like, share real embraces, I'm like,
Sure.
"That's great." You can't edit that, you know what I mean?
Can't edit tongue.
You can't edit tongue, but I so that
Mm-mm.
I'm, like, all for it, but it's like, my friend was like, "Should I DM Jeremiah?" And I was like, "No,
No. What? Why?
no."
Do
But
not engage with the subject matter. What? What were they gonna say?
I don't know, but I was like, that's no, 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 please don't."
No, that's a grow up moment. That's a grow up.
But,
That's tough.
so I'm not about to, DM Huda, but I like her from afar.
I've done that like when seasons are over on like Bake Off when like I see someone's being bullied or something. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I think you're really special.
Do you really?
I'm scared for like if I really pop off, how many like reality stars are gonna like screenshot my DMs and it's gonna be me after one glass of wine being like, don't forget you're really, really something. Like I've never said anything mean. It's just a glass of wine and I'm like, listen, you have a shine, you're a star.
It's also just, like, everyone looks so like, they have to be, like, so hairless and, like, also, like,
No
just
bloat ever.
yes, and also, like, they have to eat on camera, but they also have to, be look perfect, and, like, the camera zooms in on their butts
All the
sometimes,
time.
and it's, like, in slow motion too. It's crazy.
I think I think I've gotten over it in the period of time where I'm kind of like they have to have like brains that doesn't perceive the self that intent. Like it's like they have to be very neurotypical, I feel. You know what I mean? Like you can't be neurodivergent and like tracking sort of movements and like
I guess so, like, a lot of them did, from what I can tell, a lot of them came from influencer
yes. And I did you hear
path.
the kind of they're like Nepo Love Island babies now because they're friends of people who have been on.
What? No.
Yeah, because Zach is Miguel's best friend, and then Sierra was friends with Johnny from season 2 seasons ago.
Whoa, I guess that makes
Bro,
sense for casting, but that's wow. But yeah, I think that, like, just to go back to I could talk about Love Island for a
I
long time, but it's basically like right now I'm trying to figure out if I should get back into I took like a 2-year break from stand up when I went out to LA and I'm like, do I want to get back into stand up? Like I don't have anything going on. Should I
you're
like
only gonna talk about Love Island.
but it's like I think it's like that's the thing where I'm like, I don't know if I could really get back. This takes like a lot of hustle and like you got to get to know all these people and I feel like it's like Love Island does come on every night at 9 p.m. and you can't be home in time, but it's like
Sis.
I don't have necessarily the chutzpah or whatever to like be like, okay, just go back and do stand up, go do it, like go hustle out. Like I can't really like part of me is kind of still one foot out where I'm like, uh
But you
it
have
does
the impulse to create jokes in a stand-up form?
not even no. Like I think I'm just like, oh, it'd be nice to see people. And it'd be
Yeah,
nice to like
fair.
go out and have places to be, but
Have made a
like
commitment.
that's I don't think that that's in the cards for me right now because I can't like it's the same thing where it's like I still haven't gotten headshots
Sure. Yeah, it
and
took me like 2 years.
it's it's been I've been doing this for s- 16 years and
Yeah.
I've not gotten headshots.
Well, it's also a testament to that maybe you don't need headshots because you'd be working.
No, I guess there's a lot of photographers, but I don't know. It's also just like I think there's just certain things that I really can't bring myself to uh push myself into.
Well, it feels a little heartbreaking for all the comedians I know because I have that too. And people are like, why can't it's like part of me feels like a little executive functioning where it's like all these actors are told like this, and they have it at their disposal. They're supposed to go to this one, supposed to look like this. But when we're which is the best part of comedians, but we have to produce everything. You have to make everything. You have to make the room, the audience, the posters, the. So then when it comes to caring for yourself, it's a little bit like a mom after taking care of their kid where they're like, I don't have time to do my hair. I just did all this. And now you want me to be like Conti on a headshot? No. And so, you know what I mean? So it's like you do sometimes need an outside force that just like you need Queer Eye to come to the exhausted mom. But because I understand that, and I only push on it because I think there's so many things like that in my life that people have identified as like self-sabotage or not wanting it. And I'm like, no, it's not that. Like, it's not that at all. It's just there's so many other things right now that I'm having to do, having to prioritize before I even get to the idea of like, and now I'll put a smile on and look beautiful. Do you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. I did also get off of social media, which I think does kind of essentially put a kind of finite stamp on how much performing or comedy you can do.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of wrestling with those consequences, seeing if they're worth it, but it
Really?
feels worth it,
Because you've been
right?
off for a minute. How's it feel?
I mean, I don't feel the things I used to feel. It's not like I feel good, but I don't feel bad.
There's more space.
But then sometimes I'll find out somebody has 2 kids when I didn't know they even had 1. And it's like, "What? When did you have kids? Why don't you tell me these things?" I really like to find out when people have kids.
Oh, okay. Listeners, there's a couple of things we need you to do this episode. One is the book thievery return thing. Two, headshot photographers, please DM worse than you pod. And three, if you've had a baby, you have to tell us.
Yeah.
I hear you. I hear you on that. But also, you know what's funny is that I'm pretty good at like not engaging too much or knowing what's going on with people's socials. And it looks like I do because I'd be posting stories all the time. But then people speak as if you already know stuff. And then I don't know when I'm being impolite because they'll be like, and Sadie, blah, 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 and Kelly. And I'm like, and those are kids, you got kids. So, and then I don't know to perform. Like, yeah, I knew that. It's like, no, I didn't. Like, but like, they've been posting about it, I'm sure.
So you do the thing where you don't spend a lot of time scrolling.
I spend a lot of time scrolling on the things I get hyperfixated on, like Love
Mm.
Island or learning about fascia release or like, you know what I mean? So, but I don't scroll my own feed really.
Wow, that's good. Did you have to, like,
No,
de detox from it, or does it just naturally not interest you?
it doesn't interest me because you know what it is? It's like I take I take it almost like very personally, meaning like my friend posted this, they want me to know this. So I like it was like I'm commenting on it, like congrats. And then I was taking too much time being like, wow, I love this photo. Great. And then it was like Facebook aunt of me a little, but I did not want to do it. It's like gross to see my friend post something and then not be there for them in a way. And I know that's so like Pollyanna, but and a misunderstanding of social media. But if I go there, it takes too much of my energy. So it's just easier to like go explore and not see any of it.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
How about for you? Was there like a straw that broke the back?
I don't think so. I think I just was like, it feels it feels bad to, like, scroll, and it feels bad to post, and it feels bad like, I think I was just, like, kinda working myself up with, like, if I didn't post, if I did post, it was just, like, kind of like and you can't and nobody wants to hear about it either. They're like, "Why don't you just get off?" And I'm like, "You know what? I will just get off. I'm just gonna get" and then I think it's probably for the best because now I have this burner account that I had to get for work, but it's like, even that, I'm just like, "Why am I looking at this? This is so
Yeah.
stupid."
I get it. And it's interesting that dance because you are successful, but there is this dialogue of like, well, if you want to get back into this, you have to be on these shows and share this show and share this clip. And it's tough dancing with the shoulds and the organic expression.
Right, well, because also there's shoulds are like you were saying, it's like there's a laundry list, right? Where it's like, if you really did everything you're supposed to do, you'd be pretty busy with it. You know what I mean?
Yes, you wouldn't move. Like it's
No.
like you'd be doing a million billion things.
Yes. And so I think it's like, that work harder, not work smarter,
Work
not
smarter, not
harder.
harder.
I work harder, not smarter. And so, like,
Same.
I'm just like, I'll just keep making things, and then it's like I don't promote them, they don't make any money, and then I'm just like, "Okay, I'm gonna make another thing," and then it's like, I don't promote it, it doesn't make any money. "Oh, no, time for a new one. This one's a card game." And, like, it's like nobody
But
there's
wait, there's more.
like, nobody's like, "Hey, you know what? I wanted a card game, let me get a murder mystery." It's like nobody's like I'm, like, making this for I don't know who.
You're still self-producing, you're still self-publishing, you're still doing those things, do you know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah,
Which a
but
lot
it's
of
not
people don't make.
smart. It's not smart.
No, but you're an artist. I think
Sure.
that's to be
Artists don't
protected.
have to be smart. They can be stupid. Let us normalize stupid artists.
Artists should be dumb as fuck. Stop taking away our dumb. Let us be stupid. Do I not bleed stupid blood? So dumb. But it is. You should be allowed to it is that capitalist TikTok of you're supposed to know how to brand partner and post and algorithm
Yeah,
and business and have a creative spirit that is inspired. It's like fuck off.
it's too much. It's too
It's
much
too
for one
much.
person.
Can we hire you as social media manager?
No, but I would hire I would be no, I don't think I'm going to stay off of it.
Hey, where were we going with that? There's something there.
I was like, would I does do I have I'm like, "You know what? I don't have a job anymore. I shouldn't be hiring somebody right now."
Sure, sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
what they would do. Maybe they could hang out.
Well, do you ever think, because I do think, right, you are so creative and you're starting a new creativity hour type thing. It's like, what is the birth of that? Is that I'm back in New York, I just want to touch base? What's the birth of this show or hour, I guess?
Well, I was just thinking about how it's like it feels futile to make it's so bad right now. The world is so bad and scary right now, and everyone I know is getting a gun, and it's like it feels so insane to be doing silly art, but also I think that it's the kind of it's playing with this idea that okay, well let's just kind of call it out and do silly art
I think
and
that's
see
heavenly.
kind of where it goes and if it
Yeah.
helps.
Okay. So is that the impetus for that is also just making yourself feel better in this space when everyone has guns?
I'm not gonna buy a gun yet, and I'm gonna try to keep doing these Union Hall shows.
Yeah, Union Hall or gun, that's kind of the spectrum, huh? I adore that. I think I don't know, I think the creativity of it all, I always get allergic to people who are forecasting in this space when they're
Mm,
like, well, you know what? We just got to get people are actually going to love live shows, and you comedians are all really lucky because people are really going to crave human interaction, blah, 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 blah. And it's still for an outside gaze, right? It's still mapping what's going to be successful. And it's kind of well, no, the point here is to hopefully be financially rewarded for something that is born of an individual's creative internal impetus, not an external, what does the audience need?
yeah, yeah. I think that it's easier to make something when it's internally driven, for sure. Or unless you're really a business head, then maybe it's better to do it based on demand.
Well, you had to be a head writer for the past 2 years. That's kind of dancing with both.
That not quite. It's being a head writer, you're basically like this kind of glorified manager.
Sure.
You're just a middle manager and your job is kind of for people to get mad at you and then to be like, "Sorry, can you do this anyway?" And that's your job
Yeah.
basically, but also it's kind of you do think about creative direction, but it's mostly kind of collating what the room wants and then what the your bosses want and then kind of figuring out what what path makes the most sense. It's you're not
Yeah.
"I have an idea for a perfect thing." It's you're
No.
kind of just "Come on everybody, let's get into the river."
Finding the connective path for
Yeah.
everyone to arrive at the same place.
Yeah.
But did that feel like you could creatively express if you're more like facilitating? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that that job is like you get the job by being creative other places. But that it's not
Yes.
like you're not really if you're there to like exert your own creativity, you're not really doing the job right.
Interesting. Yeah, that's what I mean to this balance of like sort of like I don't know, identity you're hired because you're one thing and then you have to play another role and then you have to affirm that role within yourself elsewhere, but time also exists. So,
Yeah, no, but it is kind of like it's like if you're really hoping to get your jollies out with like creative output,
mhm.
like I don't know if television is the right medium for you.
Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe stand up is better for that cuz then you don't have to like get anything approved and you just kind of do what you want to do.
Creative. Yeah, I
Performance
mean, you even
artist?
kept up with your like Substack and you kept up with things like while you're working. Like you had outlets that were even in the smallest way a bit of you.
Yeah, yeah, I mean it's like I think it's also like I understand that creativity is a muscle, but it doesn't necessarily feel like for me you have to exercise it every day. It's kind of like whatever you need at the moment.
I love this. I feel very strongly this way.
Well, you
I
do.
Yes, because I think creativity is a holy cycle with seasons, just as with winters and summers and falls. But there's all this dialogue around like morning pages, the artist's way, wake up, do this, create, produce, produce, produce. It's so divine masculine, right? It's so like make instead of receive, be, stillness. Like I think creativity doesn't have to be on the same schedule because maybe you're in a winter because the crops just got harvested.
Yeah, I do think so. Okay, so here's my thought: is
I can't
that
wait.
it's I don't think you have to create new ideas every day. I don't think you have to do like morning pages every day for me. But once you start something, it is very important to have a regular time to execute it so that you get it out of your system.
Okay, I
I
love
think it's
this.
very important to finish what you start.
How would that look just logistically? Like, can you give an example?
Okay, so like right now, I'm writing this like a sequel to the book coming out, and I'm rewriting it
My
for
Robert B.
the like
Parker. Okay.
for like the 20th time, right? And so like right now, I'm saying, okay, I want to finish it by the end of the week.
Yeah.
So then, how do I break it down into digestible chunks so that I can finish it? Because otherwise, I think you could just keep putting it off
Meandering.
for yeah, and then just being like, "I need to come up with something new," and it's like, it is so empowering to finish something.
Mm,
It gives you the boost that you didn't for me at least, it gives me the boost I didn't know I needed.
I
That's not
really
gonna
like
come from
that.
starting something else.
I like this idea of finish bad because people are sometimes like start a bad draft, whatever. But it's like no finish. Like even if you don't like what's going on, just finish.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is I to the point. I think those are in conversation of seasons because
Right.
you don't start to harvest and then leave the entire
Yeah.
crop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
so right. Like you do need to actually reap what you sow. Like you do need to. I'm gonna nail this metaphor. Uh, but you do need to because then otherwise everything doesn't benefit. Nothing else can grow. Nothing else can come in. Like it's
Right.
the soil's kind of not re-fertilizing itself.
And I think the worst thing you can do is get bitter, allow yourself to get bitter. And I think the way you avoid getting bitter is that you finish things. Because if you see other people finishing things or you see other people like maybe someone you have an idea and then you see someone else has the idea and makes it happen. It like makes you kind of irreversibly bitter.
Irreversibly bitter. Wow.
And I think that you got to stay sweet. You do got to stay sweet. It does help.
I'm gonna
Keep the
stay
creative
a little sugary.
juices
The
flowing.
Well, speaking of Amaya, I am no longer getting a sugar rush from the word candy that you are feeding me. Iconic. That one she like swallowed her words on, and it was like filled with 800 other iconic things she said last night, like die skiving. I would love to know die skiving. Um, I like this. I really like this because I think finishing is difficult. And the bitterness, I always think, have you ever studied human design? It's like a woo-woo new age version of like astrology meets like Myers-Briggs.
Mm-mm.
It's and it's they have this interesting thing of like if you have certain archetypes, signs you are on your path or not. Like, and it's an indicator if you're not fulfilling your sort of life's mission. And for some of them, right, it's like dissatisfaction, or some of them it's like lethargy, like whatever it is an indicator. But for my archetype, which is called the projector, it's bitterness. Like if you're not in your like sort of right path, the indicator to realign is bitterness, because it is that feeling of, it's not jealousy because it's I should have. I should have, I should have, I should have. And it's so what you're saying because it's uncontrollable. It's a big idea. I should have done this and it would have been this. You have no idea it's infinite. So you can get bitter and bitter, but times infinity with all the possibilities that could have been, instead of just saying, oh, I made it. It's different. I don't like it. It's done. Do you work with bitterness? Do you ever have it?
I was having it a lot with social media, and that was another reason
Really?
to get rid of it. But I think it's like, I think ultimately I found that I'm much happier when I see other people's art and I absorb it and I get to kind of send them their flowers. Like
Yes.
that makes me a lot happier and more fulfilled. And I think also that that starts kind of internally where it's like you're making your own stuff. So you don't need to,
Yeah.
right? You don't need to feel resentful or, frustrated with other
Or
people,
even
but
filter through those thoughts when you're giving the flowers of like,
right.
lock it up, be good for that. Yeah.
Right, where it's like but it's like you can kind of see other people's stuff, especially if you're making your own, then you can kind of see how challenging it is to make something good, and you can see the good parts of it and see how where they succeeded. And it doesn't take away from your own, you know?
Doesn't. It gives me my sister anchored it with like, you and my sister hung out, didn't
Mhm,
you? Yeah. So she anchored it in really a lovely time where she was talking about a time she felt really worthless, and it was in her life, but she was doing a painting and it was looking like shit constantly. And she like, the words that just moved me was she said, I just so desperately wanted something beautiful to come out of me, and it wasn't. And I was so touched by that because I feel like that's the way with all art of like, it
mm,
is externalizing ourselves. And we so desperately want it to look like we hope we would feel
yeah,
or be. And so this like inability to get it out and that fear to finish it or make it is so tied up in who we are that it's just like, can we separate that? Just get it out. Like appreciate that that person made that thing and worked through all of that gunk to make this thing that you might not even think is good. And glory be. Like try it yourself.
yeah, and glory be.
Isn't that in a TV show? I say that because of like growing up in church, but like I think that's in a TV show, isn't it?
I've never heard that before, but I
Oh,
didn't grow
well,
up going to church, so
glory
there
be to
might be
God.
that.
Glory be to God, baby. And this is a religious podcast, actually. I love God with Jo Firestone and Mo. Okay, we are actually reaching my final segment,
Oh, okay.
vibes, but it's a little bit of a conversation. So, um, but this segment, I'll be very excited to hear your answer because I feel like you have so many small connective moments with people that mean something. But it's called "Thank You for Holding My Poems," and it's inspired by the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova, who during the Great Terror in Russia and political duress, it was illegal to publish poems of dissent and resistance. So their writers group, their friends, they memorized edits of each other's poems over the course of 30 years before they could publish them. And I find that so moving because it's so raw and uncomfortable to be held in an unfinished state or seen in a moment where you don't feel fully complete. But it can change your life that someone's willing to witness and do that. And so it's a very abstract prompt because I think a poem can be a barista giving you a compliment. on a day that you just didn't feel like you existed. Or it can be like seeing the Sistine Chapel or advice from a coach. And so I love hearing what bubbles up for people when I speak that prompt.
Mm, I was in this writers group for a bit, and it was like a murder mystery writers group, and I had only met one person in it. I didn't know, I'd never seen the faces of anyone else.
You
Like,
haven't seen the faces?
I'd never seen their faces.
Okay, this is the murder mystery.
Yeah. And we would take turns every week submitting work to each other and, like, giving feedback, and to see what, you know, what people could come up with and what people were working on every week was, like, very inspiring, and it made you kind of want to be more prolific, and I think that it's, like,
Mm.
it was, like, this thing where it's, like, these people were all over the country. We don't like, I don't think I would even like, I know the ins and outs of their, books, but I don't necessarily know anything about them besides their email address, and, like, that, it's also just, like, very nice to, like, share something that you feel like is in a state of, like, "At least I'll show it to these people," and then, like, if they like it or if they even like one part, you think, "Oh my god, this is great." Like,
It's so encouraging.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. Because I think, well, Murder on Sex, it's also so, like, the journey of this book is very beautiful too, because it's like you had to take the risk to show it to the world without like publishing back. And did they like then on the back end was this? I forget the whole rigmarole of this.
I tried to publish it. I tried to get a book agent. It didn't happen, and then I'd written this full book, and so then I was like, "I guess I'll just self-publish it." And then I did, and then I these 2 women helped me make it into an audiobook, like a free audiobook with,
Yeah.
Gabrielle Lewis and Barry Finkel, who are fantastic.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, like, more people were able to listen to it, and then eventually I got a book agent, and then eventually she sold the books.
A process.
Yes, I have a lot of books in a lot of boxes of books
Oh
in
my gosh, perfect for leaving at stores.
yes. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Send them to me. I will let
Mhm.
listeners buy them for a special premium for $30 because they're part of such a cool
Yep, no
experience.
problem.
And then they can leave it in
Mhm.
spaces.
Great.
But I can't believe we didn't talk about that. But I do want people to hear because it's like, you look at you're successful, you're funny, you're wonderful. And it took all that effort to still believe in something and just kind of want people to appreciate it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that you knew it could be without that group or without other people
No,
saying, we like this.
absolutely, and it means a lot when people do it's like, especially with a book, it's like, it takes a lot of time to read a book. It takes a lot of, like, you gotta invest in a book, and it's like, you just don't, like, not only do you have to buy it, but then you have to
You have
read
to sit
it.
with it. Then you
Yeah.
have to, yeah, then you have to be on beach and have people walk up and go, Murder on Sex Island. What's that?
So it's like when people actually read it and like it, it's like that feels really good because you know that they spent a lot of time with, something that you spent a lot of time with.
Isn't it intimate? It's
Yeah.
nice. I go, oh my God. Like, you don't think of it when you're reading something because it's some random person. But then when someone reads your book, you're like, you love me. All right, my beautiful friend. I would love for listeners to be able to consume your work and maybe not find you on your burner account. Is there a
Okay.
place that people can stream or seek your work out?
You could go to my website. It's just jofirestone.com. You could probably find some stuff there if you were really digging.
I think you should dig. I
Yeah.
think Joe. I always reference you as a genius, and
Well, you're a
I
genius.
well, yes. No, I really do. I've never not been inspired by you, and I think it is a fluke of the universe that they let me meet you within a week of coming to New York and be constantly inspired by you.
I'm so
Um,
glad we met so long ago.
it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I love you so dearly. Well,
I
I
love you
end
too.
every pod. Well, I love you. But I end every pod by giving the listeners and you a compliment without regards to adjectives having gender. I say, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." I love you. I think you're Julia Roberts.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Worse Than You with Mo Fry-Pasek is hosted by me, Mo Fry-Pasek. You can learn more about this week's guest and the Worse Than You team by checking out the show and episode copy. Worse Than You with Mo Fry-Pasek is executive produced by Erica Ghetto, Mariah Gossett, and Lauren Mandel for Good Get and Disco Nap Productions. Oh my God, you're so pretty.
I think I did the burner part wrong, but it's like
You did, but that's fine. It's a burner. We don't want people following you on it.